can see I beat his ass this week. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? He thought he was better than me.
Boy, like to talk, bro. Boy, like to talk. That's crazy. Boy, had one good week. Boy, got one good. Hey, what'd you score? 7?
Yeah, big 7 on the board. Big 7
Dang,
on the
that's
board.
crazy.
Yes,
Yeah, I only
sir.
scored 5 this week. Bad week for me. Bad week for me. But let's get into it though. Let's try to get a little comeback going this week. I like a lot of underdogs, low key. I don't know if you have that same sentiment
Oh,
this
you're
week,
right.
but
You're riding with the underdogs now because
bunch of
that seems to
underdogs.
be the wave right now.
I mean, I don't know. I think some of these lines are kind of crazy. I think some of these teams aren't supposed to be underdogs, first off, and we'll get into that. But like, there's about 2 or 3 matchups. I'm just like, how is this team the underdogs? But you want to just get into it?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, before we do, don't ever let me come on this platform and bet on Will Levis. Please don't ever let me do that again. And not only just bet on Will Levis, but make him a lock of the week.
Where's Charlemagne? My boy got
You should have stopped me, bro. Why didn't you stop me?
No, we're competing. I need you to do craziness like that.
That was wild. I'm over here watching the game last week. Like, why did I do that? Like, why did I go on this platform and say, yeah, I trust the Titans? Idiot.
Another crazy clip this week. Lineman smushed his face on the ground. Yeah. He just can't stop.
Oh, man. But yeah, let's get into it. First matchup, New Orleans is going to Atlanta to play the Falcons, and they are 1.5 point underdogs. The Saints are. Now, I will say this before I make my selection. Did not read the reports about Kamara maybe not playing this week when I made my pick. So I already submitted it into our contest. So I have New Orleans plus 1.5. I have them covering, but like, didn't know Alvin Kamara is on the brink of not playing this week when I made that pick. So I'm just saying, I don't think I would have made the same decision if I would have had the information beforehand, but that is what I'm riding with right now. So, Deon, who you got for this matchup?
The report says he returned to practice today. So
Fingers crossed.
I'm gonna rock with the Saints, man. If I'm rocking with the Saints are a real deal, I think they go out there and they cover. I mean, 1.5. I mean, basically just asking who's gonna win. Yeah. I'm rocking with the Saints.
Yeah, and ATL, Kirk Cousins he's looking better each week, but he still can't move.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I just don't trust that against a Dennis Allen defense. Next up, Carolina's coming off a big time win, huh? By the way, I picked them last week, just saying. Carolina's coming off a big time win while Cincinnati is still winless after losing to rookie Jaden Daniels in prime time. Carolina plus 5.5. So they got to lose by no less than 5 points. No more than 5 points. My apologies. No more than 5 points can Carolina lose against the Bengals. That's if they lose, right? They could win this game. Return game, revenge game for Andy Dalton? Maybe. Who you got, Deon?
Red Rifle. Lock it in. Easy.
Yeah, you got Red Rifle?
The Bengals going a historic 0-4 start. I think they ask a lot of questions. And I think it just, you know what? I'll take the Bengals to win, but I'll take the Panthers to cover.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Bengals get their first win, but I think Andy Dalton makes it close. Not anywhere near a 6-point loss for Carolina. I think maybe a 3-point game, which then Carolina covers. And so, I have Carolina as well, plus 5.5. Next matchup. This is one of these matchups I'm like, how are they not favorited? Los Angeles Rams versus Chicago. The Rams are 2.5 point underdogs, despite beating San Francisco last week. I just don't understand. If you watch Chicago's game against Indianapolis a week ago, and you watch the Rams game against San Francisco a week ago, how is LA 2.5 point underdogs? I don't know. But with that being said, clearly I'm taking the Rams with this matchup. Who you got?
Sam, I'm taking the vet over the rookie. Even though, the Rams are banged up.
They are, but didn't matter last week.
Yeah, it don't matter. I'm rocking with Matt Stafford. I'm rocking with some veteran over some rookie play. Lock me in with the Rams.
Yeah, I like that pick. I also trust Sean McVay more than I trust that Bears coaching staff. So, I'm going Rams as well, plus 2.5. Next matchup, another one of those. How are they not favorited? Minnesota. Right. Minnesota is 2.5 point underdogs. Minnesota. Now, mind you, They're playing Green Bay, who is also, well, they're not undefeated. They lost to Philadelphia week 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how the Vikings are underdogs in this game. Maybe because they have to go to Green Bay. Maybe that's why. But either way, Malik Willis versus a Brian Flores defense who has been making everyone look like, I guess, starter packs, novices when it comes to reading defenses. CJ Stroud didn't know what to do against this Viking defense. Brock Purdy had to go up to Brian Flores and say, man, what a scheme after their game because he was so confused against this Vikings defense. So I don't know how Malik Willis is going to be able to carry himself in this matchup. So I have the Vikings plus 2.5. Who do you have?
Yeah, same here. I don't know with these lines if there's some injuries we're not knowing about, or if there's some instant information that, because I feel like, I don't know, this feel like a setup. These are two
definitely a setup. Definitely a setup.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
So next one we got Jacksonville in the Texans.
Yeah, Jacksonville and Houston. I'm surprised about this line. Like Houston is 4.5-point favorites. And so I thought it would be a bigger margin just because of the way Jacksonville looked like. I mean, they looked horrible on Monday. They arguably may be the worst team in the league right now. I mean, they look that bad. I mean, 0-3, and they haven't been close, right? So I'm going to go Texans, who are coming off of a honestly embarrassing performance against Minnesota. Watching that game, it was hard to look at, especially offensively. CJ Stroud just looked confused against that defense that we're just talking about in Minnesota. So I think this is a get-right game. People are starting to chirp about Bobby Slowick, offensive coordinator, saying maybe he's not the guy. Mind you, he was getting head coaching interviews this past offseason. Now he's not the guy. I don't think that's true. I think he proves himself about why there were so many people asking for his services as a head coach this offseason. And it's a get-right game against a team that sucks. So 4.5 points. I like Texans covering that. Who do you have, Deon?
Yeah, this should be an easy one. Houston. I mean, after what I saw from Trevor Lawrence, and I mean, they paid him this money, and he looks. I mean, Daniel Jones is looking a little better than him. It's getting bad for it. It's getting bad for that team, man. I think he's like what they said he's like on a 9-game, 10-game, something losing streak. I
don't think he's won since. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like I'm pretty Thanksgiving. Yeah, last Thanksgiving he hasn't won a game, and it's about to be November pretty soon. So yeah, not looking too good out there in Jacksonville. That's why I say maybe the worst team in the league right now. Moving on to our next matchup, I'm excited to see this one play out because it's going to be one of those tough nose. Man, mano y mano, one in the trenches type games. Pittsburgh versus Indianapolis Colts, who finally look competent running the football. And so the Colts are 1.5-point underdogs to the Steelers, who are surprisingly undefeated. I'm not going to lie to you. If you would have told me the Steelers would be 3-0 heading into week 4, I would have thought you were lying, especially with the whole quarterback situation. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson in the preseason, who was going to start, no one knew. And honestly, they both looked pretty average in the preseason. But here we are, 3-0, going into Indianapolis. Who do you got, Deon?
Pittsburgh. I think TJ Watt's he's gonna have a great day. And AR just hasn't showed me nothing yet. He's shown the flashes, but it just doesn't look reliable. So I'm going with Pittsburgh.
I'm right there with you. 1.5-point favorites for Pittsburgh. I think they cover. TJ Watt's going to be a menace, and AR just hasn't looked good. I mean, it's simple as that. It hasn't been one game, maybe the Texans game, where he looked competent, but even then, he had a couple passes to Adonai Mitchell that was overthrown that could have been touchdowns. That could have changed the game. So, yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh. That defense looks dominant, and Justin Fields is not turning the ball over, which has been a shock. So, yeah, I think they keep rolling and move to 4-0. Next up, I like this line. Denver, 7.5-point underdogs versus the New York Jets, who have had a pretty good show in the last 2 weeks. Aaron Rodgers looked like a really good quarterback, even though he's 40 years old, and he still may have it. So Jets versus Denver, who you got?
This is a lot, bro.
8 points is a lot.
And Denver just had a really wild beatdown. They played Baker.
Buccaneers.
Rock with the 8 is a lot. With the Jets. I'm gonna go with the Jets. I think that maybe hopefully that's a safe pick. They had a good win last week. I'm gonna rock with the Jets.
Yeah, I'm going opposite, bro. I'm going Denver plus 7.5. Like I just think, like you said, 8 points is a lot of points. And sneakily, Denver's defense has been playing really well this year. No one's really talking about them, but of course they still have Patrick Surtain on the outside, who's top 5, one of the best corners in the league, and going against Garrett Wilson, so that's a nice little matchup. But if he's able to shut down Garrett Wilson, who does Aaron throw the ball to? Alan Lazard, maybe.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
he
saying?
definitely gonna throw to
Uh, Mike
him.
Williams. So you got some options, but like we talked about last week against Tampa Bay, they shut down Mike Evans. Surtain had that matchup and did a really good job. It hurt my fantasy team, but the Denver's defense looked really good against Baker and the boys. So I'm gonna go Denver plus 7.5. I don't think they'll win, but I think it'll be a closer game than 8 points. So I'm going there. And speaking about Tampa Bay, next matchup, Tampa versus Philly, who Philly escaped last week against New Orleans after Saquon's long run. Another play that ruined my fantasy team last week. But anyways, Tampa versus Philly, who you got?
Tampa. The Eagles are like the best mid team there is. Like, and of course they're dealing with a lot of injuries. But they to have all that talent and to watch these games unfold every week, I can't trust them. So I think this is gonna be a bounce back game for Baker. They got to bounce back. They had a bad loss last week.
I totally agree with you. I think Baker bounces back as well, and Philly has to go to Tampa Bay, which I don't know how that's going to work with the hurricane coming. I think that think that may play a factor. I don't know yet, but I'm pretty sure I have a homie that works in Tampa Bay, and he's in storm coverage right now. So will this mess up the conditions? Will it have to be a more run the football type of game? Don't know. We'll find out. But I think right now, 2.5 points. Buccaneers are the underdogs, and I think they cover that 2.5 points, especially after an embarrassing performance last week against Denver. You want to be able to get right. And Philly's coming off a game where they honestly shouldn't have won against New Orleans. So, I like Tampa Bay there. Next up, a guy that I believed in last week, put my faith in, and it actually panned out, right? Jaden Daniels showed up in prime time like I said he would, and he honestly showed up bigger than I thought he would. The best completion percentage by a rookie ever, 91% throwing the football last week in prime time. And man, what a dime that was to Terry McLaurin to close the game out. But they are still 5.5 point underdogs after that performance to Arizona, who's coming off a loss, by the way, to the Detroit Lions. So who you got here?
I'm on the train, baby.
You on the train?
I'm on the train, baby.
Shoot.
I want his rookie of the year odds looking like. I need to go check that out. But yeah, I'm locking in with the Commanders for my plus 5.5. I think this should be. I don't want to say a lock, but I think this should be a good, easy win for this to clear.
Yeah, I like that too. I like Commanders plus 5.5. Arizona coming off a loss, so we'll see how they bounce back. Kyler's actually been playing good football. No one's really talking about him as much, but he is playing pretty decent football right now. But Jaden's playing great football as well. I mean, watching him play, that's my first time watching a full game with Jaden. And I mean, you can't touch him. Like, he's so quick. And he's smart enough to still not take the big hits. Of course, he has a couple of design runs where he has to take a lick here and there. But scrambling wise, he's smart enough to get on the ground or get out of bounds. I like that about his game. And he took a step. Right, he took a step in prime time and was able to make a dart to Terry McLaurin. I think that's going to help out his confidence. And it's clear, right? I think if you look around to like the other rookie quarterbacks, like Caleb Williams, like a Bo Nix, they believe in Jaden. That team is rallying behind him, and that's something that I don't really think Chicago is there yet. You know, there's a little like instances on Hard Knocks where you saw maybe a couple instances where people followed behind Caleb, but I think once the regular season started, they're still figuring out, can they really trust this guy? The players, I would say. But with Jaden, if you watch the sidelines, they're all cheering him on, happy-go-lucky, smiling, joking with him. I think he is the leader in that locker room right now. So I got Commanders plus 5.5 versus Arizona. Next up, this line is weird. This line is weird. And I'm interested to see I'm interested to see where you go right here. San Francisco versus New England Patriots. Mind you, San Francisco's coming off a loss that was honestly shocking because the Rams, mind you, both teams are depleted. The 49ers are also pretty banged up, but they had a big lead going to the fourth quarter, lost it to the Rams out of nowhere, who also don't have their top-tier receivers in Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Didn't matter. Rams come back and beat San Fran last week. Despite that performance, though, the 49ers are 10.5-point favorites. Yeah, 10.5-point favorites to the New England Patriots, who, I mean, honestly, they did look really bad. They looked really, really, really bad against Buffalo last week. So Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, this is
I don't know who you got, Dion.
bro. I don't know. I don't know all the injuries for San Francisco. I'm just gonna bank on the 10.5 being too big of a deficit. So I'm gonna rock with New England to cover.
Okay, sounds good. Now, my apologies. I said Buffalo last week with Patriots. They did not play Buffalo. They played the New York Jets. That's why Aaron Rodgers looks so good. But I'm going to go opposite way, Dion. I think San Fran covers. I think 10.5, yeah, it is a lot of points. But, I mean, how are the Patriots going to score? Like, I just don't understand how they're going to go down the field against this defense. Jacoby
True,
Brissett looked horrible.
true, but
Ramondre Stevenson scored .3
the
points in
Niners have
fantasy
just
last
been
week.
doing some crazy. You don't have
They
to.
have
Don't
been.
please don't remind me about Ramondre. Oh my god. But yeah, I just this have not looked like the Niners for the previous years. I don't know what's going on. Of course, they have some injuries on that offense, but
A lot of injuries.
it's a crazy. Like you said, a big lead, and just you lose to a depleted Matthew Stafford Rams. I don't know. I don't know how they'll fix some of these holes, but I don't know. I just maybe I'm thinking that Purdy has a bad day. Something crazy happens. So I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna see if I can what that line is like on sports books. So maybe go to put some money on that.
Yeah, I just think that Rams game maybe an anomaly just because, like Sean McVay, like I think McVay had a big part in why the Rams look so good against San Fran. Now, mind you, they're also division rivals, so they played against each other a lot. They know what each other likes to run, and I don't think that's the case. I don't trust Gerard Mayo as much as I trust Sean McVay offensively. And so, yeah, that's why I'm going with San Fran. I just don't think they'll be able to figure out New England, that is, offensively. And I think Brock Purdy, mind you, they're coming off an embarrassing loss. And so I think that always plays a factor when it comes to emotions, momentum. And so they want to prove that, yeah, we have a couple injuries. Patriots aren't on our level at all. I mean, there's a reason why this line is 10.5. So yeah, I'm going with San Fran. Don't trust it, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
go with
might
it.
change it later after we
I'm
record,
gonna
but
go with it.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go
lock
with
that in
it.
for right now.
Nah, you can't change it. You already put it in. You can't change it. That's crazy.
All right, bet.
All right,
I'll
all
stand
right,
on
all
the
right.
ten and a
Next.
half.
Yeah, stand on it, bro. That's 10.5 points. It's a lot
That's
of points.
hilarious.
It is a lot of points.
Oh, they want it to be a beatdown. Oh my gosh.
It is a lot of points. All right, next up. This is a team that can't win by a lot of points, it feels like. I feel like every game they play is a slugfest to the end. Kansas City Chiefs versus the LA Chargers, a division rival game. Mind you, the Chiefs, they just continue, no matter who they play, they want it to go to the final whistle, it feels like. So 7.5 point favorites for Kansas City, which, mind you, if it goes on to the final whistle, that's a lot of points. Chiefs versus Chargers. Who you got, Dion?
Chargers. I like you
Okay.
said, they're going to continue this close game bull jive. I don't. They're not a fast offense. They do just enough to win. I mean, that's just a championship caliber team. So no matter what happens, I don't see them blowing nobody out. They'll find a way to make it close.
Now, I have the Chiefs covering this 7.5 points. And the reason why is because, yes, they have a lot of close games, but if you look at their track record against division games, they usually blow out the Raiders, they blow out the Chargers just because they know their defenses. I'm pretty sure there's some bad blood there, so they want to beat the crap out of teams in their division. And so, also, I don't know if Justin Herbert is playing. I don't know those reports that came
Oh
out yet.
yeah, let me
So
go
yeah,
Chiefs.
that's why I got the Chiefs, and I know for sure their rookie right tackle Joe Alt is not playing. He's very, very questionable, more so on the doubtful side. So not having a right tackle in Joe Alt against that defensive line and Chris Jones and the boys, I don't
Oh yeah,
know how
no,
that
hold on.
pans.
Yeah, I
Ah,
forgot.
here you go,
Yeah,
here you go,
Herbert
here you
probably not
go.
gonna Herbert probably not gonna
Yeah, I
play.
think it's gonna be Taylor
It's
Heineke.
gonna
I'm
be
pretty sure Taylor Heineke.
it's gonna be just like last year when they got that 70 piece put on. Yeah, I'm locking in with the Chiefs. Let me go.
All right, you changed it. I'm gonna let
Yeah,
you.
I forgot about that. Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. So, but who knows? Taylor Heineke may be slinging that thing like he did in Washington. So, I mean, who knows? But yeah, I got Chiefs minus 7.5 there, covering the spread. So, next up, same division, Las Vegas Raiders versus the Cleveland Browns. Now, this is basically a who you think is going to win the game based off this line. Raiders are plus .5.
That's
So less than a point. So you're basically picking who's going to win the game. Raiders versus Cleveland. Who's winning this one, Dion? Yeah, I know this was tough.
Yeah, I'm trying to. What's Cleveland's record? Cleveland is what 0-3.
I'm pretty sure they're 1-2.
1-2.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's gonna be a defensive battle. Who am I gonna trust more? Amari Cooper had a crazy game last week. I'm gonna go with the Browns.
Okay, you're going with Brown's going to win this
I
matchup.
think
All right.
I think hopefully that defense gets it together, and there's the defense of last year. So yeah, I'm rocking with the Browns.
Coming off a loss to the New York Giants, who I thought was the worst team in the league before last week. So I'm going Vegas. I think Vegas, they have to bounce back from their loss against Carolina. There's no way, right? After Antonio Pierce had that press conference as well, saying some people made business decisions on the sidelines, so we're gonna make business decisions in the front office. I think that's a culture setter. That's a culture builder in that locker room. And after a loss to Carolina, who everyone thought was god awful, there's no way they back it up with another bad performance against a bad team. That's just the way I see it. So I got Raiders. And plus, I just don't trust Deshaun. I mean, Deshaun just doesn't look good. He hadn't looked good all year.
Yeah, I don't trust him either. But
yeah,
hey, I'm just hoping. You just gotta hope the defense chips in maybe a scooping
little pick six. Yeah, some.
Just to balance it out. But yeah, I mean, it's 0.5, bro. It's not.
Yeah, it's 0.5. It's who you think will win the game. All right, next matchup. This is another matchup where I'm like, how is this team not the favorites? Buffalo versus Baltimore. Now, the Bills have to go into Baltimore, who's coming off a great dub against Dallas, ran the ball down their throats like we all expected. Derrick Henry had a great game against a team who should have signed him, but Jerry Jones said he was out of their range of money, even though they paid Dak Prescott all that bread, even though they paid CeeDee Lamb all that bread, even though they're paying Trey Lance $5 million to be quarterback 3.
And Zeke is on the roster.
But they couldn't afford Derrick Henry. Anyways, Buffalo, 2.5-point underdogs to Baltimore, even though Baltimore's playing decent compared to Buffalo, who's playing phenomenally. So who you got, Deon?
Big Buffalo, man. They went crazy this last week. Because I do want the Ravens to do good. Everybody wants Lamar to do good, but
yeah,
it depends what Ravens team comes out there. If they're going to be this running down your throat offense, then yeah, they should beat the Bills. But Josh Allen is playing phenomenal. That defense looks great. Yeah, I got to go with the Bills.
All right, I'm going Bills as well. I mean, that Josh Allen looks to be a better quarterback without Stephon Diggs. It just seems like I can just throw it to who's ever open, which helps out his brain processing. And they're running the football, which is always a good thing with James Cook in that backfield. So I like Buffalo. They're just playing too good of football right now, I feel like. And the Ravens have some things to figure out defensively. Moving on, Miami. This is the interesting line. Miami plus 1.5 to Tennessee.
So we know who you're picking, right?
Yeah, I mean, you already know where I'm going, bro. I'm going Miami for sure. I can't bet on Levis until he wins like 3 straight. I'm not betting on Levis, bro. I don't know who's the quarterback going to be for the Dolphins. I don't know if it's going to be Skylar Thompson. I don't know if it's going to be Tyler Huntley. I have no idea. Either way, I don't trust Tennessee. So, yeah, plus 1.5 points. I'm taking Miami. Who you got, Deon?
Yeah, lock me in with Miami.
All right.
Yeah, we don't got to no time for that one. Yeah, let's not.
Yeah, just play that one. Facts though. All right. Lastly, this last matchup, honestly, an intriguing one. I'm excited. Monday Night Football. Detroit is going to Seattle. No, that's not true. I'm pretty sure Detroit is home against Seattle. Yep. Let me check. Yep. All right. Thank you, Google. Lions are hosting the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football, who, by the way, the Lions are coming off a great performance, beating Arizona, and they didn't score at all in the second half against that game against the Cardinals. They just trusted their defense and didn't need to score, and they still got the dub. And Seattle, by the way, crazy stat, Deon, I looked this up. They've won 6 straight against Detroit. 6 straight. So I think something has to give. I think it's time, right? It's due. It's due for the Lions to get a dub on Monday night. So that's why I'm going with Detroit minus 4.5 points. So they have to win by at least 5 points. And I think they get it done, which, one caveat, first time wearing the all-black uniforms for Detroit. Don't know if that's going to play a factor. I'm just going to say it is because it's kind of cool to reveal a New Jersey. And why not do it by beating a team by 5 points? Who are undefeated, by the way, Seattle Seahawks, which is another team that if you would have said they're undefeated heading into week 4, wouldn't have said that was the truth. But instead, they're proving me wrong. So, yep, I got Seahawks losing by more than 5 points. Yeah. So
I I don't have no update on Kenneth Walker, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and lock in. Yeah, I'm locking Detroit. I think Seahawks get their first loss this week, just to come down to earth. Hey, hot start. They've been playing some okay teams, but I think Detroit also they're trending in the right direction. So yeah, I think this is the week that I got Detroit minus 4.5.
Yeah, Lions are playing good football right now. Their loss came from I feel like coaching mistake. Dan Campbell owned up to it after week 2, and he said it was on me. So it's not like the players have been playing bad. It's kind of just some coaching decisions here and there. But if they're all on the same page, the Lions are still the Lions, and they're Super Bowl contenders for a reason. I don't think people think Seattle are or is. So yeah, I got Detroit. Now that brings me to our locks of the week, Deon. Last week, like I said, chose Will Levis, not doing that ever again. So Deon, who's your lock for this week?
This is probably the easiest lock of the week.
Okay,
Texans
go the same way.
Texans.
All right,
for Jacksonville. Easy one. Should be routine. I mean, they're probably gonna get the starters out of there first half. It's gonna be a butt.
First half is crazy. It's gonna be a butt whooping. Maybe not have Tank Dell on Sunday, just throwing that out there, but I don't know how much that plays a factor into their offense. And I have him on my fantasy team. He hasn't been doing much. So, I would have gone Houston, but since you're going Houston, I won't take them. But I will say on record, I would have gone Houston as well. But instead, I'm going to go Minnesota plus 2.5 versus Green Bay. I just think that defense is so relentless. I mean, it's confusing. I don't know how to describe it, but I mean, they're doing things that people haven't really seen against this Kyle Shanahan offensive scheme. Now, mind you, Matt LaFleur is really good as an offensive mind. That's why he's been able to get the most out of Malik Willis throughout these last 2 games. But I think that comes to a stop in week 4. I think that Minnesota defense makes Malik confused and maybe even causes him to have a couple turnovers, which he hadn't done the past 2 games. So, yeah, I got Vikings as my lock for this week, plus 2.5 underdogs to Green Bay. We'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed.
Cowboys wasn't on this one?
No, they played Thursday night. So they played tonight, actually. Now, they are favored against the Giants, who, by the way, I think they've won 12 out of the last 13 games against New York. But they have to travel to New York, and New York is coming off a win. They're feeling good against the Browns. Malik Neighbors is legit wide receiver 1. And Devin Singletary can run the football. And we all know the Cowboys can't stop the run. So I think this is a matchup of kind of intriguing if you want to talk about it. But they play Thursday night.
Yeah, if it was on here, I would probably take the Giants. I'm not. It's at minus
really?
5. Yeah.
-5. Okay.
It's at minus 5. Well, on ESPN bets, it's at minus 5. So I would take
the
Giants.
So you don't think Cowboys... You don't think this is a get-right game?
No.
Some people are saying that.
I think they're going to keep trending down. They're going to keep trending in the wrong direction. I think, hey, this gives ESPN a lot to talk about. I think this is great for the ESPN community, the sports commentator community. They need this to talk. They need this to talk about them. They want to talk about the Dak and Jerry Jones and should they fire Jerry Jones? I think this is exactly what they need. So yeah, I think the Giants. I don't think they'll win, but I think the Giants will. I think they'll cover
the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Low-key, I'm low-key with you. If it was at Dallas, which, by the way, is funny for me to say that because they've lost the past 2 home games. But I feel like if it was at, Arlington. I don't want to say Dallas. If you're from the area, it's in Arlington, not in Dallas. If you're in Arlington, I would say Cowboys. But for it to be on the road, I don't know why that plays a factor to me, but it does. I like the Giants covering that. And that D-line has looked very well. 8 sacks against Cleveland last week. 8 of them things. And rookie left tackle and Tyler Guyton, rookie center and Cooper Beebe for the Cowboys. It's going to be tough. So, yeah, I would take Giants 2 plus 5. But we'll see tonight. And we'll also see on Sunday and Monday how our picks panned out. I'm officially losing my point to Deon.
Yes,
he makes sure to let me know about that. So we'll see if this week our underdogs – I got a lot of underdogs, man. We'll see if they can come up, barking. You feel me? Get a big bite. That's week 4's NFL pick. Thank y'all for joining us. And if you lose bread, don't blame us.